in the road tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn.
Yes. The Tiny Hat CEO has returned to the Renegade Roast. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's going to watch this later. Shout out to everybody on Twitter. And of course, shout out to my beautiful co-host, the FSU, Harley Quinn. What is going on, Jen? How you doing, girl?
Good. How are you guys?
Girl, what? Listen. I'm fantastic out here. It is darkness out here. I see we dressed in all black like we twins out here. Look at us. Listen, I got my straight up. I'm about to run down on you, say something, give me all your money, and you walking around here like you about to go siphon off hundreds of millions of dollars in seed money from random ass billionaires to build some shit out in the San Fernando Valley.
That's the hope. That's the hope.
I'm proud of you, girl. You go ahead.
They don't need that.
Out here. And you're right. And of course, we got right here the best producer in the game, the big dog himself. What up, G? How you doing?
Hey, I don't know if that's true. Actually, I know that ain't true, but I do my best for you guys. I had to make my debut on the show. It's been a hell of a couple months. We got some good shit to talk about. We've been having to roast this football team. I've been in the producers meeting talking about how we're going to fuck up our own team now for months. So I'm ready to hear you guys roast the ops and any questions y'all got about the football stuff with the new hires. I'm here to give my opinion on that. But man, fired up. Gus Malzahn, Tony White. Hopefully pop roast, all that shit. We got flags to talk about. We got Nebraska fans in their feelings. Miami's 0-21. Let's run this shit.
Pump them. Listen. I said what I said, all right? When I say you the best producer in the game, you the best producer. Because I'm about to tell generational lies in this game right here, dog. Hey, Bobby, go ahead and grab your Shames cup. Go ahead and get your turnover chain because we about to run y'all into the dirt. But it's about to be some generational lies told on this show today. I'm going biblical. You might as well call me Moses the way I'm about to part the Red Sea and sell out on the rest of these boys, all right? It's about to go down. So we're going to get into it. It's going to be a fun show tonight. I can't wait. I'm happy that we back out here. So let's just start at the beginning. There was a game Saturday. Florida State played them people from up there in Shamesville. I literally wrote 3 notes. I wrote the haters are ass, our defense is ass, and Luke showed heart. Those are the 3 notes that I got, and that's literally all I wrote about that game. I didn't give 2 shits about that raggedy-ass game at all. I was ready to get to today because I wanted to hear what this news was. So did either one of y'all check out the game? Either one of y'all pay any attention to that shit that happened on Saturday night?
No.
I was about to say, I'm guessing Jen probably didn't catch much of it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Christmas Vacation. I think that was way more enjoyable. I got the briefing afterwards. Look, honestly, I'm surprised they didn't lose worse. That was my takeaway. I'm surprised they didn't lose worse. It was, I don't know. I think, look, I'm going to give Florida some credit. They've had a pretty decent year. I'm not going to look. I can't just sit here and say that. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it could be because the SEC is down. That's what I would say. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, look, I was impressed by the effort of the defense up until like the middle of the 4th quarter. They came with a rivalry game energy and a mindset. You know, Darrell Jackson had a pretty good game for him. You know, our DBs were flying around. Linebackers, they have a rough time every week. But no, I appreciated that. They gave us every opportunity to win the game. Special teams, besides the muffed punt, you know, we gave them the ball 3 times inside the 10-yard line. You know, the offense just couldn't score. And that's been the story of the whole season. Everything. How can we win this week? Oh, the offense has to score at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. You know, and it never happens. So, unfortunately, this shit's over. And we got new coordinators. We got all that.
We get
it's more of the thing.
We get there. I don't care about nothing that happened in that game. To tell you the truth, I watched the whole thing, and I could tell you 2 things that I saw. I saw Luke run. I saw Luke fall, and I saw turnovers. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
So enough about that. Man, I got an OC and a DC, baby. What? we got us an OC and a DC out here. First off, for all of these Shames fans and these Shamesville people who told me that the logo don't hold no weight, the logo is not what it was, the logo ain't got no shine on it no more. Use a damn lie. All right. My head coach, right? He picked up the phone. He called another head coach and said, "Step off your perch and come be up under." That's what he said. And he got a head coach to step off his perch and come slide on over to the big dogs. All right. That's what happened. That's what happened. All right. So for anybody who's been living under a rock for this last 48 hours, FSU went and got Gus Malzahn from UCF. He stepped down as the head coach. Of course, the same Gus Malzahn that won a natty at Auburn as the OC under Gene Chizik with Cam Newton. The same Gus Malzahn whose ass we bust in the national title game in 2023. The same Gus Malzahn that's really been out here raking in the recruits at UCF. UCF then turned around and did work out here on the recruiting trail because Gus Malzahn was out there showing them big time football. This is how you need to do it. So we got him to come in as our OC. So before we get into how I feel about it, give me y'all thoughts on what happened when you heard the news. How'd you feel about that, Jen? I know you got some words about Gus Malzahn out here.
I was surprised because, again, you don't usually see a head coach. I mean, we saw it, I guess, with Chip Kelly. I don't know that that's worked out as well as people thought it was going to. But I think Gus Malzahn's a different cat than Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly is clearly, his personality is not one that you would consider to be a great OC. You know, OCs have got to actually, be good at talking to people, etc. It's, again, it to me, it was a surprise because it kind of came out of nowhere until that day, So I'm interested to see how it works. And it's a nice flex. It's a nice flex to get a guy to resign as a head coach at, somewhat a Power 5 school. No offense to UCF, but let's be for real.
They don't count.
Yeah, you're in you're the big 5, not the big 3. But that's, hey.
Yeah,
it's a Big 12 school. It's a Big 12 school. That's just the truth.
Yeah, man. For the first 2 months of the season, when everybody's talking about people we want, go offense was obviously at the top of the list. But I admit, Gus Malzahn didn't even enter my mind just because he was a head coach, and I didn't think he was that close to being fired or wanting to leave. Then later in the season, I was in a space 2 weeks ago with Newberg and those guys, and I got up there to speak, talking to them, and they asked me who I thought the guy was. I said, I'd love to get Mullen. I don't think he's going to come. And I was like, maybe a head coach somewhere like Chip Kelly steps down. And I can't remember if me or somebody else said Gus Malzahn in the light one. It's like, oh, shit. He's literally the head of the snake. He's the guy that Mike's offense is based on. He got the go-go offense started along, with Mike and extension. Dillingham was there. His offense is predicated on that. SMU's offense is predicated on that. It's the base of kind of what's hot in college football and coming up right now. And he's the head of Mike's, he gave Mike his first job, just like Mike gave, go his job. So it's there couldn't be a more perfect person to come in. So we talked about it on the last couple shows. Yeah, he could very easily pull a Chip Kelly, because in this day and age in college football, you're way better off doing what he's doing and taking an elite coordinator hire than flaming out and get fired. And then you may have to take a coordinator spot somewhere way lower, or take one of these FCS or G5 head coaching jobs like we had to see people do. So yeah, Chip Kelly, I'm sure Ohio State people aren't real happy with him right now, but he did have some modicum of success making that move. And just whatever you like about Gus or don't like, the fact that he's such a role model to Mike Norvell, and Norvell has that kind of respect for him. One of the biggest things we talked about is not having these yes men that are just happy to be there and want to be friends with everybody. I think Gus will give him an honest opinion, and as somebody who is just so focused on running the ball, having a good offensive line, the mix of Norvell being more pass oriented, I feel like it's just the perfect marriage. Maybe it doesn't work out, but he's 10 years removed from being an OC, but he still has top 20 offenses every year, regardless of what his defenses do. As a head coach, he has the same problem Mike Norvell has, really. Recruits pretty good and all that, but just didn't never put together a program. So.
Right. I would say the big thing for him coming in when I first heard the news. I was like, we'll see. But as I started to dig more into it's the recruiting portion. See, one of the things that I've heard from a lot of people who are around these high schools, specifically in that Central Florida area, is that Gus's face is clean everywhere. That man can walk into high schools left and right. He can get what he wants. He knows the pitch. He knows these kids. He knows this area. He knows how it goes down here. So that's a big, big plus. And that's something that Mike's been missing, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, you would have Dugans go out and get you a player or two here or there. Yeah, you would have Yak go and get you a player or two here or there. Atkins would have his hands in some recruitments, but Gus is recruiting big time. And as we can see with the number of players that he had at going to UCF, 4- and 5-star talent going to UCF, like that wasn't heard of before. Them boys weren't going there. They were always going to Florida State, Miami, Florida. They were going, Ohio State, etc. And Gus is getting them boys to go slide there.
Best class of all time.
Right. That's number one. That's the number one reason you bring a Gus in, is because he can help keep your face clean and go out here and recruit. The offensive stuff. Yeah, he's put together offenses. We've seen him. We saw what he did at Auburn. We saw what he did with Cam Newton. We saw what he did with Trey Marshall and other buddy. I forget what his name was. The quarterback that they had there.
Mark Davis, is that right? Or Chris Davis? Chris Davis?
Chris Davis was a corner. Who's the quarterback that they had?
Oh, Nick Marshall.
Nick Marshall. That's
Nick
it.
Marshall.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see that he can call offenses. His offenses are always solid. Now I will say this. Just to throw the bad out with the good, he did have to give up play calling 2 separate times at UCF, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for us here, because he doesn't have to do everything that a head coach needs to do. He's coming in to call plays.
Because that's what it was about, not his play calling, but the neglection of the rest of the program. Same with Mike. Like, do we think I can't call plays? Sorry to interrupt you, but you hit the nail on the head right there.
You spot on. You spot on. And see, that's the thing that I like about it, is that if Mike is off his tree, right? So he knows the offense that Mike's running better than Mike does, right? He can come in and focus on that offense. He can come in and focus on the X's and O's. He can come in and focus on what the personnel is on that field and how to get that scheme going. So I'm not going to knock that. I also think that this works out very good for Mike, because now he doesn't have to keep his eyes on that one in particular. Now he can take a step back to more of that CEO role and have more of his hands everywhere else in the program, instead of him worried about calling plays while he's out there. So I don't think it's a bad hire. Like we said on this show multiple times before, Mike really only had 2 options. You weren't going to get a top OC. You were always going to go out there and get you a retread that's got a name, which is what we got, or you're going to get an up and coming guy, which was what people wanted when they wanted Gogo to come down here. So honestly, I would say this is about as good as you can get at this point with the squad. I mean, have y'all heard anything else? Any other rumblings out here besides this dude who we were going to run down here with?
No.
Yeah.
No. Like, I think this is the best name you could get for the moment. I mean, unless you were going to take my idea and bring in good old Dan Mullen. And I don't think that was going to happen. So let's, I think, honestly, it kind of came out of nowhere, and it owned the news cycle that day, which is exactly what you want, what you're looking for, especially when you've got early signing day coming up.
That was smart.
Yeah. So to me, it does suck out the oxygen in the room. It brings up the news cycle for a day and has you top of mind for certain kids that maybe you weren't going to get. So I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying it's going to go over, gangbusters, but I am saying it's probably the best you were going to do for that moment, for the exact reasons I just laid out. I mean, like you said, early signing day is here. So for you to already have an OC and a DC in place, and they're not like small names, they're not from small schools, they're not from small programs. One was a former head coach at a Big 12 school, and he decided to resign so he could become an offensive coordinator. So to me, that's a nice oxygen suck. And it's what you like to call, if you had bad news, you dump it on a Friday. When you have good news, you dump that shit on Saturdays, Sundays, and you let it ride the week. That's how that works.
I think that's solid. I see Chris Russo in the chat saying, "I can't wait to see what it looks like to run a successful wide receiver screen." Hey, bro, it's a whole bunch of shit that I can't wait for us to see out here. I need to see us run counter properly. I need to see us run all types of shit out here. But I think Gus coming in, knowing this offense because it is his offense, and seeing what he can do with this offense, which we have seen him do with this. Hell, buddy, who's out there at SMU? Whose offense is he running?
Pretty sure Gus Malzahn's. He's the closest. He's running almost exactly Gus Malzahn's offense.
Yeah.
Oh, oh. So what you telling me is, and let me make sure I understand this. What you telling me is, my squad just got the guy who created the offenses that are out here lighting college football on fire. And my guy, the guy who I got right now, my new OC, he's coming in with all of the experience, with all of the know-how, and with all of the recruiting chops. So we can go out here and get us the players that we need out here in these streets. What?
Yeah,
I'm out here.
That. See this right here? There's a guy named Hand. That's the rumored offensive line guy that's going to come in. And everything I'm hearing is great. I was told, this is secondhand knowledge, though, from a guy who spoke to a couple offensive linemen on the team, and they hated him. They hated Herb Hand. They want nothing to do with him. And what that told me is, let's fucking go. Get him in here. I don't need an offensive line coach that's best friends with my players and all that. Shit don't work. Rick Trickett was not popular with guys the second they stepped on campus, okay? He was called the Marine for a reason. He's a dumpy little white dude, I believe, this Herb Hand guy. He's what we need as an offensive line coach. It hasn't been named yet, but that's the one other offensive name that's really been bandied about. Dugans was fired, so we're going to have a wide receiver coach from somewhere. Haven't heard anything solid on that. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the offensive stuff about Gus, and I couldn't be more fired up about him.
Hold on. So you telling me my OC walking in with gifts for the program? We coming in with an old line coach too? What? Man, let's go ahead and get him.
Not official yet, but that's what we're hoping on. It's looking like that way on both sides of the ball too. I know we'll drag
his. I need him to drag his angry ass in here. I need him to put the paws on somebody. I need me an O-line coach that's going to sweet talk you in your grandmama living room. And as soon as you on campus, you're going to say, hey, you better go pancake somebody. I'm going to send your ass back over there to your grandmama house so that you can go and clean up, that you can go wash the plastic she got covering her couch. And I know she got plastic on it because I sat on them raggedy ass couches. That's how I want my OC talking to my O-lineman. I need my OC out here doing work. But hold on, Bobby.
Did Granny still do that shit? Because back in the day, my grandma had plastic on the couch, on the VCR. They had the sticker on the fucking TV.
Right. They had that runner on the flow, and if that bitch was flipped upside down, you thought you were going to die at 2:30 in the morning when you shouldn't have been out of your room. Yeah, I feel like they flipped that shit over anyway.
Oh, you even got a carpet, Granny. You got fucking rugs over every inch of this bastard.
Like, what you doing? Hold on, Bobby in the chat talking about some sounds like TinyHat is back on the Coach Mike Norvell train. Let's understand something, Bobby, with you and your University of Coral Gables Hurricanes, Avi over here. I wasn't off the Norvell train. I just said that he need to get this shit right, and he owe me a fade. And just because he went out here and made a nice little hire, don't mean he still don't owe me a fade. I'm still catching him with the paw. Do you see these paws? He's gonna catch these if I ever see him in these streets. I'm slapping him like Bernie Mac in Head of State as soon as I see you. Oh snap! What's going on? That's what he catching out here. He's still catching these hands. All right, that's just what it is. But I like this. I like what I'm hearing out here. My OC is coming in and he's bearing gifts. He's coming in with his hat around his chest. How y'all doing, Florida State? Get me back in the game, baby. That's what I need out here in these streets. That's what I need. I need a guy who can come in and call plays properly, who's going to know, who knows what a good O-line looks like, who knows what solid receiving play looks like. I need me a guy who's going to come out here and have my run game devastating these teams. You see that weak ass shit they got down there in Coral Gables? We just saw Syracuse run up and down the block on them boys. You see this weak ass shit they got down here? I need a head coach that's ready to exploit that sorry ass front seven. That's what I need.
Boys talking about they were a top 15 defense because of the total defensive stats, Miami.
Yeah,
like Florida saying they were top 5 last year.
Yeah, they're top 15% of these nuts. That's what they are. I mean, they can go sit down somewhere. So, final thoughts on Coach Gus sliding in here, bearing gifts. I can't wait. This is gonna be fun. I'm telling you, bro. Hey, I said, looking at our schedule last season, this season, looking at our schedule, we might win 4 or 5 games. We win 8 games next year.
And here's what's fucked up too. Soon as Gus resigns, the rule is when you resign, guys have 30 days to enter the portal. So anybody from UCF can come immediately here without even waiting until December 9th. Because these people that are announcing they're going in the portal, they're announcing attentions. They can't actually enter till the 9th unless they're a graduate transfer. But anybody on that UCF roster can come. Any of these head coaches that have got fired or resigned around the country, you can get them immediately. We can't get the Nebraska players immediately, but we're going to defense in a minute. I'll let TinyHat run the show, but like for those Nebraska players, like 8 D line have hit the portal already.
We get into that. But what you're telling me is, once again, not only is he coming with an O-line coach, but he might be coming with recruits, and he might be coming with players that have already been in a big-time football program's weight program already. You telling me that
recruited in the past as well.
You telling me that my O-line might get some actual oomph next season? Is this what you're telling me right now? Man, we win 9 games next year.
Some 6-7
games next year. Florida State 9 game. Book my tickets right now. We going bowling next year already. That's all I needed. That's all I needed to hear. We coming in. We winning 9 games next year, and I ain't gonna go to 9. We winning 8 games next year, man. Don't talk to me.
He did it year 1 at UCF. He went to the national championship year 1 at Auburn. Gus has a way of and that's been one of his issues. He starts out hot and then has kind of petered off as a head coach. But I think that's because getting lost in the minutia of everything. When he gets there and is focused on fixing an offense, 9 wins, that's probably higher than I would predict. But if we didn't make a bowl game, I would be shocked.
We at 8. We at 8 right now. We at 8.
We're like what Florida had to do this year. That's kind of like it's weird, but it's Mike's kind of in Billy's situation going into this year.
All right,
the only thing I will say is what we're not going to do is start celebrating the Dickie that Gus Malzahn decides to wear all the time. Like, that's not what we're going to do here. I'm going to need him to change his getup. We're going to need like a nicer, you got to get rid of the Dickie. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, Gus, we're going to have to get you some swag, get you the black Florida State hoodie with the tiny hat to go on top. He going to be sitting up there in the press box in the AC. Go ahead and kick your feet up. We can get you a co-ed or 2. She can come in there and feed you grapes every time that you score a touchdown. We got you, baby. We got you. But let's flip this over to the other side of the ball, because the rumors are that Florida State is picking up Tony White, defensive coordinator out of Nebraska. I'll tell you this right now. I didn't know who the hell that dude was. I was skeptical at first. There's a lot to be seen there. But as I did some research on him, he runs a base 3-3-5. So, want to get to some of that X's and O talk, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and then 5 DBs. I'm not a big fan of the 3-3-5 defense, but he is somebody who can adjust his defensive scheme based on the personnel. So that's something that's pretty solid. So I'm not really going to knock him for that. But Tony White, and then there's also rumors that he might be bringing his defensive tackle coach, Terrence Pot Roast Knighton, with him. If that is the truth. I mean, again, all of this is rumors, nothing made official yet. But give me your thoughts on just the names that you're hearing for the DC. How you feel about Tony? How you feel about Tony White and what he bringing out here?
Well, I mean, for me, it's the reaction of the fan base of Nebraska, right? I think that's going to tell you everything you need to know. They're not happy about this. This is, how do you lose your, all the things to a team that won 2 games? And I feel like shit if I were Nebraska too. But Nebraska is not new to winning only 2 games a year. They've actually perfected it. They're kind of a double whammy there. They hired the best offseason coach that was available back in what year was that? 2016?
Something like that.
In Scott Frost, and then managed to win 1 to 2 games a year for 3 years and keeping him employed. So again, I think the reaction from the fan base, that's it, right? If you were to hire Guidry out of Miami, the Miami fans would be like giddy about it, right? They'd be so excited. So I don't know if he's gone back to drinking. That's not, that's neither here nor there for me to say. But again, everything we say is true except for the things that are false, blah, 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 blah. But I think, it's the reaction of opposing fans, and Nebraska fans aren't happy, and they didn't want to lose him. There you go.
You made some real salient points, and it brought me to this. Like, a lot of people wanted the Oregon DC Chris
Yeah.
Hampton, but it's like, in that case, you're running the risk of, I forget the guy's name that Miami brought down as a co-OC. Turns out he was the one that wasn't doing shit, and he was only at Miami for 1 year. So we don't know if we ended up getting Chris Hampton a month later down the road, way past signing day, way past the portal deadline period, and it turns out he's a duck and he was, just running Dan Lanning's defense. That would be terrible. You don't have any risk of that with Tony White, and doing it at Syracuse and then doing it at Nebraska. Y'all mentioned the reaction. Pot roast is not official. Tony, FSU, by the time we started the show, had not put out a release, the contract details like they did with Gus on Tony White. But how Gus moved, it was 24 hours later before we found out. So I imagine sometime tomorrow we'll get that. But Pete Thamel and then the 247 guys and all writing off Pete Thamel's report, he did sign a 3-year contract. So Tony, it's like we're 90% sure he's here. Pot roast. What worries me, and I haven't talked to any insiders about this, just judging on the insiders saying that they're trying to work out a contract and trying to give him a raise to stay there. I have a sneaking suspicion they offered Pot roast the OC or co-OC title. That's the only thing I could see keeping him from coming here, because I'm sure we're going to offer him like $1 million or something. Pot roast Terrence Knight, and if you don't know who he is, he was a D lineman for the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken, and the Jags. Big fan of his. Like, go watch his interviews and stuff. Just a great guy, infectious energy. All his players. There's like a white defensive tackle. There's a video on Twitter of him going on for like 5 minutes, and at the end of it, he's like, he's like a father figure. No, he is my father. Like, pretty much said that about him. So yeah, I couldn't be a bigger fan. And it's like, he's a killer recruiter. Nebraska's like number 20 on On3 and number 23 on 247. And if you look at their top 7 recruits, 5 of them are defensive players, linebackers and defensive ends, composite 4-stars. And that's in Nebraska. And he's pulling guys from Texas. He's pulling, guys from up there as well as down here. So yeah, his experience at the Jags and just being a guy that did it in the NFL, he should be able to recruit his ever-loving ass off. Like, he's a guy that's maybe one of the hottest coaches, position coaches in the country. Like, you can't do much better than getting him. So pray they get pot roast. And I was kind of hoping maybe that Tony White was hired kind of on like a handshake or a known deal that you're going to bring him with him, kind of like Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn. But we'll see how they're announcing these things. We're not quite sure. But yeah, if we could get pot roast and T. White, I mean, basically both our coordinators, one's a top 20 offense, one's a top 20 defense. Like, number 6 rush defense, number 8 rush offense. Like, you can't ask for much better. That's all I'll say.
Man, listen, I'll tell you this right now. Hey, whoever making these high Alpha, get off your ass, get on the phone, get on your jet, just go pick them up, bring them on in, and pull a Mark Cuban. Just lock the door. Don't let him answer his phone when Nebraska try to call, and don't let him out the room until you get a deal done. That's just how this needs to go. This is big boy football. We ain't Nebraska. The last time they were relevant was what, 95? Nobody give a damn about none of that. Get your asses the hell up out of here. No,
our guy Greg Pfluger said that he had a tweet like, "Oh, this is just so bad for football. Tony White making a lateral move from Nebraska to Florida State."
Man,
go fucking move. What decade do you think this is?
Like, go get your corn shucking ass the hell up out of here. All right, we talking big boy football over here. Nebraska ain't done shit since they've been in the Big Ten, and they ain't gonna do shit now that they in the Big Ten. You should have stayed in the Big 12. You should have went back to the Big 12 when Colorado was there, and then you could have stacked up some wins. But y'all ass, he's coming down. He needs to come on down here. Come on home, baby. All right, we ain't that far from Jacksonville. I know you still got a house over there. I know your family's still out here in these streets. Just come on back down here. There ain't nothing but a few-hour ride on that way. You could just fly right on over there. We'll let you use the PJ. Go on over there, bro. We got you. Come on down here, back down to the South, where you can put your good skills to good use for a squad that can do something with the talent that you bring it in, because they ain't doing nothing with them up there. All right.
Oh, you lame ass Colorado fans. Y'all talking a lot of shit about pot roast and T. White too. Just because y'all mad they put it on y'all's ass and y'all scored 10 points on them this year. I peeped y'all too.
Put the pause on y'all boys. No, I need all of that. I need the DC to come down here and to be in somebody's face. I need a defensive line coach like that. Listen. Pot roast coming over. What that tells me is that our boy Odell, hey, listen, hats off to you, baby. Hats off to you, baby. But you can go ahead up to the Champions Club. You can go ahead and order whatever you want off the menu. We'll put your main entree on one plate and each one of your sides on a separate plate so that we can have a random co-ed come on over and just feed you what you want. You ain't even got to lift a fork, a knife, a spoon, or nothing. We'll have another one that'll rub your feet while you're up there. All right. We can go ahead and put you out to pasture. You can come on down from up there every once in a while. You can make a little comment, a little speech here or there. That's it. But thank you for your service. I need them to go ahead and get me some of that young blood in here. Let me go ahead and get pot roast out here in these streets. That's what I need.
I got to tell you something. When you take your hat off, it's like an optical illusion. It looks like you got that Cat Williams hair going on. And that shit trips me out every fucking time.
The whole hoodie out here, man. You out here. I'm running down on boys.
I know it's a hoodie, but I'm telling you, every time I'm like, God, that shit's luxurious. I thought my shit was luxurious. What are we doing?
Say that the hair is not flawless when you know that it is. Anyway, no, this is gonna be nice. I can't wait. This is gonna be nice out here. I see that these soft ass old linemen are in for a rude awakening. Can't wait. You damn right. You damn right.
Oh, especially with that hand guy. Like, look, you need that old grumpy, Marine type. Like, I'm sorry, give me Rick Trickett all day, every day, as opposed. And I know our offensive line sucked at the end, right? But when he had that thing humming, like those guys, they had kids leave because they were getting bullied. I mean, come on. That's what we bring back bullying. Okay, bring back bullying for the offensive linemen. I'm sorry. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Right.
Bring it back.
Incognito motherfuckers. I don't care.
Yeah.
Biggest bully, and he's still in the league. And he dropped the M-bomb on somebody's voicemail like 10 years ago.
Hey.
He's still in the league.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I want my coaches in my players' faces going to work. I see Jeff Hill out here with the $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Jeff. I like the coaching hire so far. I voice spelled hire wrong. I gotta love Florida State fans, man. I like the coaching hire so far. What was better than the highs? Miami lose, and they still haven't won the conference. Hilarious. And I'm glad you brought that up.
My
before
goodness.
we get into that, any more thoughts on the OC and the DC hires? Anything else y'all want to get off y'all chest when it comes to those two?
No, I think I'm going to give Mike Norvell major props here for getting those hires in before early signing day, whether or not it works, whether or not it helps, whether or not this class can be turned around, because let's face it, it is rough times. But I will say he made some definite nice moves. And like I said, he takes the oxygen out of the room with those hires, and they're very good hires. Very good hires. For that.
Yeah, the speed, and this is what we talked about. Y'all talked about on here. We all talked about on the rundown. Like, they needed to get this shit done quick, fast, in a hurry. We talked about we wanted rumors on the weekend and hires on that Monday. Well, we got a hire on Saturday, rumors on Sunday, and more hires on Monday. So I couldn't be more excited. This isn't the just totally hardcore X's and O's show, but the 3-3-5, a lot of people have had issues with it, like you brought up before. Like, I'm here to tell you, 90% of y'all, when you watch the game, you won't even realize it's any different. Like, you're going to have 3 down linemen, and then just a jack linebacker is going to come stand where Pat Payton is, just rush the passer better. Like, I mean, it's different. You're going to have 3 linebackers a lot of times on the field, but one of them is going to be just standing there as a D end or dropping back in coverage. It's multiple, sort of like the 3-4 that Pruitt had, very much like that. You can just do whatever you have to do. But yeah, I'm fired up for both of them. I couldn't be happier. Like, I didn't know much about Tony White either, like you, until they made the hire, and then I started looking into it. And the deeper I dug, could not be more fired up. So yeah,
right. Absolutely. So you telling me I got me an OC coming with gifts? You telling me I got a DC who might be coming in with gifts as well? What? Man, next season, 9 wins, baby. You go ahead and pencil me in for that. 9-3. We go into the ACC title game next year. I said it. Who gonna stop us? The only team I see right now in our way is Syracuse. All right, that's it. And speaking of Syracuse, shout out to the Orange, to the Syracuse Orange, baby. We finna give y'all all y'all flowers. Shout out to Fran Brown. Shout out to Kyle McCord. Shout out to them in that hot ass dome up there that ain't got no AC, because the Syracuse Orange, ladies and gentlemen, they not only lined up, but they knocked down a whole lot of bouncing, overhyped ass that came out of Coral Gables. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the University of Coral Gables Hurricanes win, and you are in not the playoff, the ACC title game. Your boys lost to Syracuse after going up 21-0
Oh,
in
Lord
the first
Jesus.
quarter of that game. And Syracuse came out there, ate them little body blows, fought off the refs, and then they went and scored 35 points straight on y'all sorry asses and got y'all asses up out the paint. Oh, it is fantastic. Where are all the Shames fans at? I see Bobby. Bobby, wild quiet. What base jeering at? Where you at? Hey, Kwame, where you at?
Not
All
right of
y'all.
line saying Coral Fables. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Coral Fables. That's great. That's great.
Bobby said Gidry should be arrested. All y'all should be arrested. Gidry should be arrested. No, hell no, hell no, hell no. They don't need to be arrested. All of them brothers need to get medals. We need to go ahead and put them on the Mount Rushmore of trash coming out of that raggedy ass squad that y'all got, because y'all lost to Syracuse. Y'all can't even get to the. Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. Let's run down this list here, because I wrote this list here and I wanted to make sure that I got this right. Right? $20 million roster.
30-something. 38 million is the rumor.
$1 million Heisman candidate quarterback. Best quarterback in program history after one season. Right? Right? That's what I was told. That's what I was told. Weak ass schedule. Weak ass schedule. Number one offense in all of college football, if you go by the numbers. Right? Y'all had all of this. You have Gidry, you got your OC, y'all had the stout O-line, y'all got the running back from Oregon, y'all got the front seven, you got Bain, the freshman All-American, right? Y'all had all of that, and y'all lost to Syracuse. And not only did you lose, you still have yet to win an ACC title. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't, like, this is unprecedented here. It's fantastic. I see you, No Nation. The U is back. The U is back to what we told them they were going to be. They are back to being mid at best, and I love it. I love it. So before we start going off on them even more, how did y'all feel about that bullshit when y'all saw that L come clean at their ass?
Well, number one, I truly enjoyed the short in front of it. I just was here for all of it. There were multiple Miami fans on Saturday retweeting stuff I had tweeted a year ago, wondering what I was tweeting about that day, which is so crazy to me. I don't follow you. I don't know who you are, yet I'm your top of mind on a Saturday. And then you go lose. So you're welcome, guys. Your hubris is what lost you this game, because you're worried about what little old me is tweeting and being like, is she tweeting about politics or reality TV? I am tweeting about reality TV, and it's called your piece of shit football program who can't even win an ACC championship. And by the way, SMU is about to win it, maybe their first year. You bums can't even do it. Like when Duke sucks and Wake sucks and Maryland was here, all the things, and you're just sitting there you didn't even have Louisville then. You had no Louisville. What is going on? What is, oh my God. And then you got Virginia Tech running around with like a turkey as their mascot. Y'all can't do shit. Are you kidding? It's such a joke. I don't have the words. You've got 45-year-old offensive linemen crying, and you've got Restrepo or whatever he's. What is he, like 42? I don't know.
Right.
What
He's
is
number
going
one in
on?
receptions and touchdowns. That dude been there for 8 years. He better have number one receptions.
Generational quarterback. We were told generational. Like this man was Jameis. Are you kidding? Stop it.
Maybe 24 Jameis. Maybe 24 Jameis.
He ain't even
that's
that.
generous. That's generous.
He ain't even that. Best
Hey, I'm vindicated because from the beginning of the year when the motherfuckers was on fire, I was not here for the comparing them to last year's FSU team. Like That was
No.
fucking bullshit. Like that last year's team had an elite fucking defense. Elite. And sure, maybe Miami's offense is a little bit better this year, but in the crunch time, it ain't. Like I would have took FSU's offense with Jordan Travis to go score. And here's what happened. At the end of the last year, we ate all this shit because our quarterback got hurt. We only beat Florida and Louisville by 10 or 15 points. And here these motherfuckers are with their Heisman quarterback, and they can't beat Georgia Tech and Syracuse. So fuck y'all, man. Y'all are going to get left out for a
Should've lost
3-loss
to Cal.
SEC team, and I'm going to be
And Virginia
laughing
Tech.
my fucking ass off. I also got roasted because I said, like, everybody's saying that Cristobal has recruited so good the past 2-3 years. But all he did take was a new coach smell and get these top 5 classes in quotation marks. But I said, this is bullshit. I did the math on the composite. These 2 classes have hurt the talent on the team. Well, lo and behold, a couple months ago, the 2024 talent composite came out, and Florida's at number 13, Florida State is at 14, and Miami is below both of them at 15 on the talent composite. And that shows they did what Florida State did. They brought a whole bunch of fucking Cam McCormick, 9th-year tight end, fucking 5th-year senior quarterback that was supposed to go to the draft, running back from Oregon State that could have went to the draft, et cetera, et cetera. And that's all their money. And the few high school players are fucking Manny Diaz recruits like Restrepo. So lose me with that shit. We're going to see what kind of recruiting and all that shit they did next year. Because guess what? It's year 3, and where's your fucking recruiting class at now? You got motherfuckers flipping to Florida just like we do, and we only won 2 games.
Hey, that's
So
what
fuck
Mario
y'all,
said.
team.
Recruited.
Fuck Miami.
They won 10 games. They won 10 games. And the number one thing he know for recruiting, Billy walking in there whooping that ass, taking anything that he want out of their refrigerator. Oh, y'all let Riverboat Billy come in and take your recruits? Oh, come on, dog. Come on. You
Let
had
us pass them motherfuckers up. Let us get up to number 15 and they drop to 16 or something. I mean, that would be the best day of my life.
It's hilarious. They told us all season long how
They were going to be undefeated.
They were going to be undefeated. They were going to make the ACC title game. They were going to win the ACC. They were this, that, and the third. Y'all ain't do a damn thing. Y'all ain't do a damn thing. This is the best team you've had in 20 years, and you have this to show for it. Yeah, this ain't no zero. This is a whole asshole. And this is how wide the asshole is, because this is what Kyle McCord and that offense was doing to your defense all night long. Just all up in that ass. That's what they was doing. Shout out to Jeff Hill with another $10 super chat. Thank you, Playboy. Says we're going to leave this conference in the next 2 years, and Miami still won't be able to win the conference. They haven't been relevant since VHS. I'm gonna tell you this right now. They ain't been relevant since I was burning CDs when I was in high school, making $3 a CD. Shout out to the people who was buying them bad boys off me. You helped me pay for my gas when I was a senior. Y'all boys can go sit the hell down somewhere, Cryami, because that's all they've been doing. Now, you just went from win and you're in. You just went from we got one of the most dynamic offenses in college football with the quarterback. Florida State last year had a great offense, but their quarterback got hurt. They left us out, but y'all had everything lined up for you. And now you're waiting for somebody to make a mistake to gift you a spot in the playoff.
Man, did you see that comment from New to This? He says, without the refs, they are 7-5. And that's true. And the funny thing is that once the ACC realized that Clemson got their shit together and SMU is going to run the table, they said, fuck it, we're done helping y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
shit was hilarious. I mean, it's clear as fucking day. They won them 3 games in a row.
Like we said, like they should have beaten Cal, which is the only team Florida State beat. Are we serious? And they didn't beat them on a fluke either. No.
Cal was making that defense, that secondary. Cal was making that secondary look like the Swiss cheese that it is. And I said this all season long. I said, y'all going to play a team that has an offense and an okay defense, and they going to beat y'all. And you're going to have if you have a coach that does not take his foot off the gas, they going to beat you. And what happened in this game Saturday, right? You go up 21-0. And what Mario and the rest of that team tried to do was they tried to give Cam Ward as many Heisman highlights. They tried to stat pad for that man. And Fran Brown and them boys fought the refs. You can go back and watch it. The whole first half of that game. He was fighting the refs at home because they were gifting Miami chance after chance after chance. And y'all went out there and tried to stat pad for that boy. And Kyle McCord and them boys, they were like, oh, snap, you going to rush a safety? All we going to do is lob this bitch over the top. Single
What
coverage
about
out
the
there.
field goal?
Them DBs is food.
That's my rant,
Food.
dude.
The
Fucking
field
Cristobal.
goal was
Cristobal.
crazy.
Oh, and not only that,
Oh man.
not
We've been a
only
fucking game. There's 2 minutes left. It's
I
fucking
couldn't-
44 to 39. And you kick a fucking field goal and your defense is
like-
going to stop all fucking night.
I said he's really not gifting me this right now, is he? He's not gifting. There's no way.
them boys.
Did
them
Syracuse take a knee? I missed that part. I hope they took a fucking knee to end that game because
Yes,
man.
they did. Yes, they did. But
Oh,
them
man.
boys at Syracuse, y'all could not stop them. They had the same play over and over. They looked to see what side your defense was blitzing from, and they threw the ball to that receiver. That's all they did. As soon as you blitz from this side, they was like, oh, Frederic, the one with the tights that little girls wear up underneath their skirt, that one. Frederic over there, the one with the Magic Johnson pants on. Frederic over there, the one with them Amazon booty shorts, them yoga shorts that all the girls are wearing on IG all the time. Yeah, oh, he over there one-on-one, lob, mossed all day long. You would think that Syracuse got 2 first-round wide receivers. Them 2 boys go in the first round. Top 2 receivers picked in the draft, the way that they was out there mossing your sorry ass DBs. But when I told you 4 weeks ago, that I wasn't impressed by your front 7, and I damn sure wasn't impressed by that sorry ass secondary you got. Y'all told me I was a hater. Y'all told me that y'all won the game and we shouldn't be talking. And I tried to tell y'all. Y'all boys are food. Your defense is trash. Oh, we got Maui Noah. And I don't give a damn about none of that. Your DBs were getting cooked. Your linebackers was getting cooked.
And your quarterback was crying for not throwing a
You
touchdown.
were dropping your defensive ends, your 275-pound defensive ends, into coverage to try to cover running backs out of the backfield. They were eating you alive. I don't know what the hell your defensive coordinator was doing. But if I'm playing Syracuse and I know they have a high-powered, up-tempo offense, I'm not going to sit here and leave my sorry-ass DBs on an island with them boys. Where was the double coverage? Drop 2 safeties back there. Do something. Y'all boys let them cook y'all. And it was fantastic. I loved every second of it. I did not know that I had Syracuse socks and Syracuse draws on. I didn't even realize that I had Syracuse draws. I was walking around here dancing, and I had my oranges just jumping up and down the way that I was hopping off my couch cheering for the Syracuse orange. That's what I was doing out here. Y'all boys is ass. Oh, it was fantastic.
Hey, you think fucking Ohio State fans? How do you think Ohio State fans feel watching Kyle McCord be the best quarterback in the country for the Syracuse fucking Orange, throw for 5,000 yards, and they can't score fucking more than 10 points on Michigan?
They can't do no. Oh, Jen, you was going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, somebody in the Rob asked, the committee is gonna make Miami 11th, and they're gonna pick Clemson or Miami. No, only one ACC team gets in. It's gonna be Clemson or it's gonna be SMU, because that 11th spot is gonna go to a Alabama squad. Y'all watch. You just watch it. Watch it. I'm telling you, it's already being hyped. It's already being hyped. Everybody fucking knows it. I heard more. Well, Alabama just beat Auburn in rivalry week. Who gives a shit, right? Alabama sucked a lot of the year, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, didn't they lose to Vanderbilt this year? But okay, whatever.
Out of those 3, fucking South Carolina's playing the best football right now. They've got the best fucking quarterback in the conference. So by everything they said last year, it should be South Carolina if one of those 3 teams gets in. But Jen is 100% right. It'll be Alabama. But I do think if Clemson wins the ACC, I don't know who the second ACC team will displace. I think if Clemson wins, SMU or Miami will get in.
No, we'll I think it'll be SMU. It won't be Miami. That's the only way that 2 get in is if Clemson wins. They'll bring in SMU. Miami ain't getting in. I'm sorry, guys. It's not going to happen. They have no wins. They have no wins. Their best win is against the University of Florida, which actually has turned out to be a not so bad of a win, right? But that's it. That's the only thing they have. They have nothing else. Nothing. And by nothing, I mean nothing. And they've lost. They've had some bad losses. And they should have lost to Cal again, who lost to Florida State. Like, let's not continue down this road. Miami's schedule is terrible. It gives them nothing. And by the way, the committee with that strength of schedule bullshit that they tried to run on us, Miami's is worse than what Florida State was when they were undefeated. So we don't need any of this anymore. What is Miami's now, like 106? I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Their schedule is terrible. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. I'm being a little hyperbolic. I get it.
I see Category 5 in the chat talking about some old shit FSU just turned it over for the 100th time, clown asses. Hey, you want to talk because Kyle McCord
here
is
you
still
are.
throwing pitch and catch passes on that sorry ass DB room that you got. Y'all
Hey,
boys.
Category 5, what does the ACC championship trophy look like? Let us know. Send us a picture.
I don't even think y'all allowed in Charlotte. I honestly think that y'all not allowed in Charlotte. That's what it is.
Lord
Y'all
have
not allowed
mercy.
to cross them city lines because they gonna put y'all in cuffs and walk you and migra y'all asses right back down to Coral Gables because y'all ain't allowed to be up there. Hey, this is fantastic. And here's what really gets me about this, right? So we've been saying for the longest time that Mario, good recruiter, terrible in-game coach, right? He does make the blunder of looking at this. They get down there and they say, oh, I'm going to kick the field goal, right? You go kick the field goal when their defense couldn't stop. But before we even get to that, let's back this up. Syracuse cannot stop the run. They can't stop the run. And what did they do that whole game? They ran the ball at the beginning, and then they went completely away from the run so that they could try to boost the stats of the quarterback. They saw Deion Sanders getting out here telling everybody that Travis Hunter needs to get that Heisman for all the work that he's doing. And Mario said, you know what? We're going to showcase our guy against a terrible defense. Only thing is, your offense is ass, bruh. I don't want to hear this shit about how many points you score. You were doing this shit against Ball State. You did this against Cal, right? You did this against Virginia Tech. Again, all teams that have no defenses. You did this against Louisville. No defense. You did this against Florida. First game of the season, they had no defense. You did it against our sorry ass defense, and you couldn't even throw the ball into the end zone against us, which let me further know that y'all not as good as y'all thought y'all were. And I told your sorry asses that you was gonna run up against a team that was gonna come ready to play, and you was gonna get put down. And I thought it was gonna come in the first round of the playoff. You couldn't even make it. You couldn't even make it. And I am. Great work by Mario Cristobal. Great work. Jeff Hill with another $10 super chat. Damn, bro. I feel like hey, Jen,
coming through, baby.
Flash him some shoulder meat or something. He out here giving us his whole Social Security check. And I know it's Social Security because don't nobody spell Jeff like that no more. Oh, 1930 spelling. Anyway, he says, this is how delusional Miami fans were. They honestly believe they could have beaten last year's FSU team. Hilarious. And I'm telling you right now, that last year's Florida State team, that defense is not letting Cam Ward run around back there for 15 minutes so he could find a wide open Jacoby George in the corner over there. That Fisk and Verse would have been on his ass. And when he inevitably ran away from there, then the younger, better version of Pat Payton was swatting any shit that he was throwing out the air. So we ain't have to worry about that.
Encyclopedia said he couldn't afford to donate $1 for every year the Shames didn't win the SEC, but he did throw $5 down. So we appreciate that, bro.
Shout out to Encyclopedia. Hey, the Shames, you did exactly what we told you to go do. I told y'all y'all were the Knicks of college football. They always try to say that college football is better when Miami is going, right?
Great.
The NBA is always better when the New York Knicks are good, because here's what happens. Your fans get all hyped. You start puffing your chest out. You start bragging about some shit that happened before my mama was born. And then you turn around and you fall flat on your face. They yank the ball from in front of you, Charlie Brown. Get your Charlie Brown asses back in your beat down cart. Take your ass back down at Moral Gables. Going into your 50-yard indoor practice facility. All right. And go sit down somewhere, because you're right where you belong, at home, watching TV like you've done for the last 20 years running. And it is fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it. So we got that off of them. Final thoughts on the Shames losing to Syracuse.
Well, what I will say is there's quite a few people saying, well, Miami fans still think they're getting into the playoffs. Okay, well, the playoffs number one criteria at this point is a conference championship. Okay.
Mhm.
And if you go look at the new playoffs, that means previous conference championships hold weight when they want to allow you into this little club. By the way, Miami has zero. Zero. They
Mm.
don't have the current conference championship or the possibility of winning said championship, and they certainly don't have a previous. This is why Clemson holds a lot more weight than Miami does.
Mhm.
It also goes down to when they're picking, when you're picking and you get money, right? You get money off the playoffs. Teams that have more appearances, guess what? They get more money. Those conferences get more money. Miami brings none of that to the table. No offense, guys. It's
Mhm.
just the truth. The 11th and 12th teams will be Alabama and a Big Ten team. You're getting one ACC team in, guys,
Mhm.
possibly two, but that will be if Clemson beats SMU, you will get Clemson and SMU in. If SMU
Mm.
beats Clemson, you're getting SMU in, and that's it. Sorry.
Mm. Mm. And I
It's the
honestly,
truth.
looking at it, if I had to rank how I think it's going to go, even after the championships, I would say Oregon, Texas, Boise will get that third spot. Clemson or SMU, either one of them. That's going to be that. I give the five seed is of course going to go to the Big 12. Well, the Big 12 champ is going to get in, so that'll probably be Arizona State, right? Then you got so those are your five. Those are
Look
your
at
five
Kenny
guaranteed,
Dillingham, by the way. My
right?
goodness.
Go ahead, Dilly. We see you out there. So you got Oregon, Texas, the ACC champ, Clemson or SMU. Boise is in there. Arizona State or the Big 12 champ. So that's five spots. Notre Dame gets a sixth spot. Then you go down the list of the teams that they're going to put in there. You know Georgia's getting in. That's seven.
Yep.
You know Penn State's getting in. That's eight. You know that Indiana's going to get in. That's nine. You know that Tennessee is going to get in. That's 10. And then you got 11 and 12. So do you put Alabama? Oh, I'm sorry. You know Ohio State's getting in. So
Yep.
that's another one. So now you
Now you
got
got
one.
one more spot.
You got one spot. And do you think they're going to pick you over Alabama, South
100% no.
Carolina, or Ole Miss? Now, people are going to talk about South Carolina. Ole Miss thumped South Carolina. So if Ole Miss gets left out for South Carolina, I would be
Which
pissed.
is
Was it
why
the beginning of
Alabama
the
gets the
year?
spot.
That don't count. You
Right.
can't count that. That was early in the
Ole,
year.
Ole
That's
Miss
exactly
also.
why Alabama's getting the spot, guys. That's exactly why they're getting the spot.
Hey, who won between
It's
Ole Miss
crazy.
and Alabama this year? Who
Ooh,
won
I
that
can't
game
remember.
between Ole
I
Miss and
think Ole Miss
Alabama?
beat Bama.
Right. So Ole
No,
Miss
they
got wins. I'm pretty sure they beat both of
Does
them,
Bama
right?
got 3 losses?
Bama does
I
have
know they
three.
lost to Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. Was Ole Miss their other loss?
I think it was. So
Yeah.
Bama's
But
got
Ole
three
Miss
losses.
just lost 24-3 to Florida. And
No,
South
Bama
Carolina just
lost to
looked great.
Tennessee, right? Bama lost to Tennessee.
Well, I know they got three losses. Either way it goes. So
They
you
didn't
got.
lose to Ole Miss.
Oh
They
no no
beat Ole
no no! You're
Miss.
right. You're right. The Bama's whole point is we beat Georgia. Did you beat a Georgia, Miami? No. South Carolina is playing good ball right now, but South Carolina got thumped by Ole Miss. So they going to jump Ole Miss? They going to jump South Carolina and Ole Miss? They're going to put them in there because you don't have a win on your schedule that's better than any win on either one of those schedules. So again, Miami, enjoy it because the same Alabama team that they chose, that same program that they chose over our undefeated squad last year. And what they said was, "Oh, you don't have your quarterback. Your quarterback went down." Right? They rationalized that shit because they
So
knew it.
Texas still in the running?
Yeah, Texas is going to win the
Oh,
SEC.
okay.
Yeah,
And then
Texas is in there.
interesting.
Uh-huh. So the same Alabama program that they chose over our program last year, even though we bring more eyeballs than your program does, even though we were undefeated, unlike your program this year, right? Everything that we did right, they chose that program over ours. They gonna do the same damn thing to you, and
And
it's
hey,
going to be hilarious.
not even saying it's right. It's just what's going to fucking happen.
What's
And
gonna happen?
you guys, all these other conferences, but especially the ACC and the other 14 fucking teams were such
This is
pussies.
what I have to
Y'all
say to
didn't
you
want to go out
guys.
there and fight. Y'all
Eat
wanted
it.
to call us
Eat it.
sissies and all this shit. So now just
Mhm.
you made your bed, lay in that motherfucker and roll around. Because when you look at every conference, everything that Tiny Hat just named, Oregon's going to win the Big Ten. They're a Pac-12 team. SMU is going to win the ACC. That's a fucking group of 5 team. Okay, the Big 12 is going to get won by a Pac-12 team. The SEC is going to get won by what?
A Big 12
team. So every single fucking conference had somebody come in first fucking year and win the conference, but we're supposed to believe the ACC is so goddamn bad and that South Carolina and Georgia and Bama are all top 15 teams when we all fucking know they're not. Just because you have talent in Vegas and all that shit. I heard Tiny Hat talking about it in a space. These preseason fucking rankings and giving guys rankings based on recruiting rankings with how the portal and everything is now is a bunch of horse shit. That's how we thought Florida State was a top 10 team, and we were the worst fucking team in the entire country. So it's wrong.
Or
but y'all motherfuckers made your bed, delayed.
Or the worst team in the country. So I feel like we were still winning.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it the worst team. Yes.
And here before we go to these flag planting assholes out here, here's what I want to know. Let's say they do leave Miami out and y'all go to a big time bowl game. I was told 63-3. All of our players sat out. They got prepared for the draft. You think Cam Ward finna go out here and play in a bullshit ass meaningless game? I better see Cam Ward. Are they gonna have
Flugenflogger?
I better see Restrepo out there. I better see George out there. I better see these linebackers out there. I don't want to hear no shit about y'all losing some bowl game, because we know what you do in bowl games. The last bowl game you were in, you lost to Rutgers. So I don't want to hear no shit about y'all in no bowl game and our team wasn't there. Our team sat out. They were getting prepared for the draft. I don't want to hear it. They go category 5. So you mad we lost. I'm good, you guys. I'm glad. I'm good. You guys won, and it made my fucking day. You didn't go. Hey, here's what I know. Y'all lost to Syracuse with a 21-0 lead. That's what I know. Y'all did not make.
You were playing with house money and lost.
Y'all had the best quarterback in program history. Y'all had one of the top offenses, if not the top offenses, in all of college football. Y'all had 20 years to win this conference, and this was your best shot. Y'all went all in with a $20 million roster, allegedly, and y'all didn't even make the title game. You didn't even make the title game. So you can be happy, you can be sad. I don't give a damn. I'm celebrating and I'm stomping all on your grave right now. Go sit your sorry asses down somewhere category 5. I ain't the one put the pause on you. You need to go find Syracuse. Go run down on them boys, because they ran down
remember all the pods talking about what we're gonna do when we're undefeated, and we win the ACC championship undefeated, and we get to go to the playoffs undefeated. We're all waiting. We're waiting on that. Let us know. Y'all let us know how it goes, because we're still all waiting on y'all to be undefeated, go to the ACC championship game undefeated, not have to kick a field goal when you're down 31-0 to Clemson the one time you made it. I again, it's so funny, but it was expected. It was almost like there was no like stunner about it. Like, you saw the end of the game and you're like, of course this happened. Of course. Because, you could be up 21-0 on the final game of Miami and Mario Cristobal says, hold my bra, I'm about to lose this game. Like, hold it for me. I'm losing it. There's no way I need to actually, set expectations for these fans to actually win things that matter. Because it's just not going to happen.
What was it, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that Mario got up there after a game and said, I think it's pretty clear now, the direction of this program and the momentum and the perception on social media, it's obvious which program in Florida's headed the right direction.
Boy, that aged like milk. And now you've got Billy Napier coming in there, just taking whatever recruit he wants out of Mario's kitchen. Like, Billy Napier just showed up at Mario's house, put his feet up on the bed, watching his cable, streaming all his streaming services.
Boy, eating all his baby snacks. Eating all his baby snacks, smacking his wife on the ass. Boy, what? What? Go sit your ass down.
Bobby said he thinks 10 Miami players won't play, but yeah, I thought the same thing. If they don't get the playoff, there's no fucking way Cam Ward plays
You
in the
think
Pop
Cam
Tart
Ward's
Bowl
gonna
or
come out
whatever.
there and do that? Hell no.
No
For
way.
what?
They're gonna have the
And then we'll get
Hogwarts
to see
sorting
it.
hat kid out there.
We'll get to see it without the
Hufflepuffer.
quarterback. That's what I want to see.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. All right, we done been going for about an hour. We gonna get out on this real quick. So all weekend long, rivalry week, big weekend, all types of hate everywhere, of course. And this weekend was just extra special because I don't know if all of these players like sent out smoke signals, if they done sent out carrier pigeons, these birds that go fly around and just hand out stuff. But everybody was out here trying to plant flags. They was out here trying to plant flags. Now, before I get into this real quick, I myself personally, I don't even fuck about planting the flag. Listen, if you whoop somebody ass, you can say and do what you want after the game is over. I remember a few years ago, NC State beat us at home, and Bradley Chubb, punk ass, was out there spitting on the Osceola and stomping on the grass and all of that stuff, and people were mad. Oh, he shouldn't be able to do that. I'm like, no, if you don't want him to be out here celebrating on your logo, then you need to beat him. You need to beat him. Well, it's not that we didn't see people getting beat, but we saw a different kind of beats, because when these flags were being planted, these boys was out here throwing hands. They was out here slinging them. They were throwing them things, and it was fantastic. And I loved every second of it. So I myself personally, I counted 5 different skirmishes, fights, kerfuffles, whatever you want to call them, little dust ups out here that happened. And I wanted to rank these fights because there's a clear number one. There's a clear number one fight that happened over the weekend. So we're gonna run this down real quick. You had the Michigan Ohio State flag planting. I saw one Michigan player choke, literally suplex an Ohio State player, put him on flat on his back. Did you see this fight, G?
I don't think I saw that part of it. I saw a little piece of the skirmish, but I missed the German suplex.
Oh man, he flipped Buddy over. They was out here knocking him down. They were throwing hands. I'm gonna say flat out that Michigan won the fight. If I had to see who won, Michigan definitely won that fight. There was 3 different times that I saw Ohio State players get the paws put on them. So not only did Ohio State get their ass whooped during the game, but they also got their ass whooped after the game when them boys was throwing the hands. Y'all got beat down. So it was so bad that y'all had to go call the popos on them, and the popos was out here macing Michigan players because they were whooping your ass so bad. Just the all-time L. Ryan Day, you should be ashamed of yourself. What is he, 1-4 against Michigan, 4 straight losses?
0-4.
And your team got maced, had the other team maced because they was beating your ass. Oh, come on. Yeah, Arizona State and Arizona, our boy Dilly out there doing work. The Arizona State players went out there and tried to plant the spear, that devil spear, right in the middle of that UA that they had out there, and they of course had that dust up. I saw the little dust up out there. It wasn't nothing crazy. Them boys ain't really about that life. They too busy trying to go back to the dorm so that they can run down on some of them snow bunnies that they got out there at ASU and at UA. So Arizona State definitely won that fight because they took a spear. Like, they had a whole spear out there. That was fantastic. UNC, NC State, no flag. It was just hands. That's all I saw. It wasn't no flag out there. It was just hands being thrown. And somehow UNC actually won that fight. I was like, what? Like, UNC?
That's surprising. Them out there in their Argyle clothing,
right?
Those attorneys. Like,
boys,
what are we doing?
The boys was out there throwing hands for Mac Brown. They say, y'all done fired our coach, and now we got to get out here and throw hands. Oh, them boys was fighting. They was fighting for something bigger than themselves. And then, of course, you had the UF Florida State. No, we ain't gonna get to that. You had Notre Dame USC. There wasn't really a flag planting, but we did see that Notre Dame offensive lineman crouched down and just straight up punched the USC defensive tackle in the face mask. That boy said, "Hey, I ain't got time for this," and just dropped that. I need that type of O-lineman. Hey, Mr. Hand, Coach Hand, bring that in here. Go get me one of them corn-fed ass boys that's gonna punch somebody in the face mask with a bare fist when he pancakes somebody on the ground. I'll take the 15 yards, but I need that type of nasty on my O-line. So I definitely want to throw that in there. And then, of course, fight number 4. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, fight number 5. Oh, so there was 6 fights this weekend. Fight number 5, of course, was Florida State UF. UF won the game. They went out there, them boys tried to plant the flag. And I want to give a shout out to somebody who I have not named on this program at all season. This man has never seen the field. This man has only been seen hyping up the crowd on the sideline. We call him Burst fade on here. But tonight, burst fade, you shall be named. Shout out to Julian Armella. Because when them sorry ass Shamesville haters went out there and tried to plant that flag, Byers and Armella were the two boys that ran out there and was like, nah, we're not having this. We're not having this. Armella with that burst fade ran right out there. He got the burst fade and he had the little part in his eyebrow, was yanking that flag and throwing that bitch out the way. So shout out to Julian Armella, aka Burst Fade. That's the most fight I've seen out of you all season, outside of you fighting the air as you pumping up the crowd. That's what I'm talking about. I need to see that dog. Why Armella ain't out here in these streets, I don't know. He probably can't play football worth a damn, but he damn sure know how to get in there and fight for that
Why don't you find out when we get a new online coach that he's the best one on the fucking team or something? You know?
I'm telling you right now,
I had that thought.
We find that shit out. I'm smacking. Me and Atkins gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a problem.
I heard we got some prima donnas in there. Some guys like Lucas Simmons and some other guys. I mean, I don't know. This is just what I've heard from secondhand from other players and stuff in the locker room. But
facts. Armella and Byers was like, nah, we out here. And them boys went out there and they went to go scrap. And then we saw one of the funniest things I've ever seen at all. Okay. The funniest things. My head coach went out there and grabbed him a flag and slung that bitch out the way. And then my head coach turned around and walked over to Riverboat Billy and hit him with the trigger fingers, not the Twitter fingers. The trigger said, hey, check.
He's like,
bro. He said, we ain't got time for this. Get your boys up out of here. What you thought this was? So much so that Billy was like, I sorry, sir. Sorry. I didn't know that they were going to do that. Man, Mike Norvell had Billy shook. Billy was out here looking like he was looking around for the cops. Where's all this police protection? That's what he was out here looking for. Billy looked like he was sad. He was scared. He was shook. All right. That's what happened. I seen it with my own two eyes. Your head coach, Shamesville, your head coach got checked by Money Mike. Money Mike walked up, got all up in his personal space, and had the trigger fingers out. Billy was so shook, he thought he saw an actual gun. He was like, oh my God, officer. He had a pistol. I seen it with my own two eyes. I can't believe it. I seen it with my own two. He was scared. That boy was shook. He spoke proper English when he was talking to Mike. I'm sorry, Sir Norvell. I didn't know that my players were going to do such a thing. This is a travesty. I cannot believe. He turned into a whole scholar when Mike Norvell ran up and was like, hey, don't let this little box cut fool you. I had cornrows and I will put the paws on your ass. All right? I'm from Texas by way of Memphis in this motherfucker.
That's what I was about to say. That man said, look, I came here from Memphis, Tennessee. Excuse me. Like he said, look, y'all make fun of me for loving reality TV, but this was a Real Housewives reunion is what that just was. He's like, wah, just screaming and yelling. And by the way, if I'm a Florida Gators fan right now, watching that man apologize not once, but twice, and then punishing these kids who, by the way, haven't beaten Florida State in years. And by the way, but maybe he was punishing them because they wanted to celebrate after beating a 2-win team. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. I would be a little embarrassed by that too. I don't know. And you didn't beat him by as much as you probably should have. That's true. Right. But this man, no, Billy was very he was a cuck. I don't know what else to tell you. This man is sitting there at night watching his wife with other men because I watched him apologize 3 different times for something that, again, you win the game, you celebrate the game, fine. But he allowed Mike's tiny ass to walk up and just go, whap. And then he goes out there 3 times and apologizes going, oh, well, I mean, if you want to come be with my wife, come be with my wife. No biggie.
That boy Mike would have punked Billy so bad that he did the one thing that somebody who get punked like that does. They're going to find somebody else who's softer and go check them. That's why Billy out here raiding Mario Cristobal's recruiting class right now. Mike Norvell punked that man into finding somebody else to play with. He was like, hey, go get you some bids. All right, go play with somebody else. Don't play on my house like this. All right. And he went out there and said, oh, there's Mario. Give me all this shit that you got over here. And you're not going to do nothing about it. Riverboat Billy is running down on Mario Cristobal right now because Mike Norvell punked his ass on national TV. We all saw it. We all saw
Like,
it.
that's embarrassing. That is
Oh,
like, seriously, do you think Billy got any
oh,
when he got home? You can't. You
oh.
can't when you get on like that on
Mm-mm,
national TV and then you
mm-mm,
go, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
mm-mm.
I mean, maybe the wife doesn't. I mean, she may have been with someone else. Her lover, it was maybe his turn that night. I don't know.
Oh, it was fantastic. And then my head coach, they were like, "Hey, did you want to tell us what you said to Billy Napier with the whole flag play?" He said, "I
He
told him
said,
what I
nope.
thought." I said, "I told him what I thought. Listen, you got every right to celebrate, but you ain't gonna do that here. And I'm gonna make sure that ain't gonna happen here no more." That boy Mike looked crazy as hell. He was like, "You should have fought the case, before." Like he was out here. You saw the whites of
Said
his
it
eyes.
about O'Malley. Mike was fucking
His
fired
eyes
up, and
were
we've
wide
seen
open.
him since like we lost to Florida back in like year 1 or whatever. Like
Boy, what?
that
That
was
boy
nice.
Mike went out there. His voice wasn't raspy or nothing. He was like, "I
Nope.
told him what I
He had
thought."
that fire in his eyes, boy.
That boy Mike say, "Oh, you want to play? Oh, you thought I was feeling you? Nah, I'm finna go munch
I
on y'all
bet you
niggas
that
out here in these
voice was
streets."
deep. He probably said, get that shirt out. You know, he was just like, I bet you his voice was deep, like, and Billy was like, okay, yep, whatever
See,
you say. I
see,
couldn't
see,
believe
this,
it.
this the shit I be talking about. Look at Bobby in the chat. Come on now, guys. What was he supposed to do? Get into a fist fight on midfield? Yes, motherfucker. See, this is why your team's soft. This is exactly what we talking about. If you sorry ass James fan, your coach is out here getting punked left and right, and this is
Yep,
how I know that y'all soft
by
because
players,
your
by
coach walking around
players.
here with double D's on his chest, and y'all just as soft as his titties are. The fuck out of here, bro. I want to hear none of that. If Billy was as bad as they say he is, he would have been like, "Hey, get your hands out my face." Remember Jim Schwartz a few years ago at the Detroit Lions?
Oh, yeah.
Got a can shook a little too hard by Harbaugh. Jim Schwartz was like, "Nah, hell nah. Y'all gonna have to stop me from running down on somebody." That's what happened. Billy was like, "Hey, bro, get out my face. If you really about that life, you come over there. Oh, I'm coming to shake your hand, and you gonna come get in my face with trigger fingers in my shit? Nah, bro, we gotta talk. We gotta fight. We gotta something. We got words have to be spoken with these right here. That's what need to happen." All right, that shit was wild trash by Billy. Billy walked off like that. And then here's the funny part. Now they heard, the UF players jumped somebody. They jumped somebody. Yeah. You know what happened? The two players on your team that can't get into no trouble because everybody in college football know their names: Mr. Money, Mr. Transfer from Colorado, Mr. Can't get the playbook down right under Prime as a corner. And so I had to go transfer over to Florida. Yeah, we got you in 4K stomping on a player on the ground. Guess what? Now you're going to have to deal with it. I'll laugh my ass off if you ain't on the team next season. And if you can't find no team, you're going to have the last chance you that motherfucker. Better get your shit right. Better call Coach JB and see if you can go get your ass out there on the field somewhere. That's what you might need to go do. But either way, your team was wild weak. And my coach ran down on that shit. And all that did was piss my coach off. Because right after my coach got all in your coach face, guess what he did? He went and got me an OC that's coming with gifts. He went and got me a DC that's coming with gifts. He went and got me a play caller. He went and got me, he's getting me talent that's coming in right now too. What? Y'all done started some shit. You started some shit. Mike said y'all called him soft, weak, too mild-mannered for too long, and now Mike is ready to run down on y'all boys. It is demon time at Florida State, baby. That's why we rocking the hoodie with the tiny hat on top of that motherfucker. This is what we do. It's time for Florida State. We finna run down on y'all boys. What did I say? 8 wins next season? 9 wins. Florida State winning 10 games next season, bitch.
Oh,
10
no.
games next season,
Okay.
bitch.
You lying.
We generational lies we telling out here today. Florida State 10 wins next season, ACC title, playoff berth. Hold us out next season. We gonna see what's up. Alabama got to come see me. Hey, Kalen DeBoer, we gonna show you why they tried to choose my coach over your sorry ass before you got that job. Real talk. You gonna have to come see us with this shit. Let's go.
Well, you knew our new offensive coordinator, he, made his bones off beating Alabama.
The stars is lining up,
Just
baby.
saying.
You might as well call us Kendrick Lamar on the Black Panther soundtrack because it's all the stars coming over here, baby. All right, we out here.
Think about what it's going to be for teams to line up against us after playing us for 4 or 5 years with this offensive line. If we come out and start bullying motherfuckers, like if we can run the ball, we're gonna have people on defense. Like every year we have people on defense, and we're gonna have a top 40 defense. We're mad if it's not a top 20 defense. But the offense the past couple of years was all Jordan Travis, and this year was literally the worst in the fucking country. So what happens when we can just hand it to an average back and he can get 5 or 6 yards? Like, yeah, I can't wait. I think it's the best 2 hours you could have got. So I'm fired the fuck up. I'm not going to say 10 wins, but I definitely think
wins.
I think we can get like 6 or 7 and beat Miami and Florida. Be 2-0.
You lied to me all off season. Well, let me get my generational lies off.
Lie, baby. I hope you're right.
10 wins next season, baby. Generational lie. We telling biblical lies tonight. All right. My coach is coming out here. He ready for blood. We finna run down on y'all boys. You see the hoodie? Man, you see the hoodie? All I needed was my shiesty, but I didn't want us to get demonetized out here in the streets. All right. Florida State is coming for all of that work. Be ready. Be ready. Anyway, about to get
we
up
got
out of
436 people in here, guys. We appreciate everybody joining the Renegade Roast. We're so happy to have Jen back. Appreciate TinyHat and her letting me join here for the first time. Please hit the like and subscribe if you can. Some of y'all are on Twitter as well. If you can get over to YouTube to hit the like and subscribe for this, it's huge. Get updated.
We here for all the smoke every Monday night, 8:30. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the Hurricanes fans that actually pulled up. I see you, Category 5. I see you, Bobby. I'm not worried about none of that. I see y'all, but I don't see none of the other ones. Base Jiren, you're going to have to come see me on the timeline. Kwame, you definitely going to have to see me on the timeline. Oh, I'm running down on all of that nonsense out here. Shout out to everybody who's pulling up to this, and shout out to everybody who's going to watch this later. Of course, shout out to my beautiful co-host, the FSU Harley Quinn, my girl Jen, and shout out to my boy, the best producer in the game, my boy G. Thank you for pulling up. TinyHat gang, we out. Go Noles, baby.
Yeah, we out of here. I was listening to what he was saying instead of producing.
Hey, man. FSU works for everybody. Let go. First off, fuck Bama in the road tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn almost caught y'all slacking like dress pants. Michigan trash. They ain't